Hi guys, so now that I've introduced you guys to the awesome Flashback universe, let's try and recreate a few of the Flashback universe characters within this universe online. It's a bit tricky because if you saw any of the character designs I did for the Flashback universe, you'll notice that a lot of those designs are asymmetrical. And there's not many asymmetrical styles in this universe online as it is, and a lot of those don't look anything like the styles that I actually came up with. So it's very challenging to say the least to try to come up with flashback universe characters within this universe online. Case in point, here's our friend Saturnite. This is more or less as close as I was able to get to the pattern of the character. And even then, again, Saturnite is pretty much an asymmetrical character, and also like I would need to be able to have the emblem like to the left of the character as opposed to dead center like it is right now, and also would need some sort of planet-like emblem. Essentially, if there was a Saturn emblem, that would be perfect. We don't have any such thing in this universe right now. Also, the helmet is a big challenge. Trying to find a helmet that kind of sort of looks like the helmet that I use with my Saturnite character is a bit tricky. I toyed with the idea of using the Orion helmet for a bit, but again, if it didn't have the ears like the wings on the side, it would kind of work, but not really. Another option, I suppose, would be the Scion of Iron headgear, but again, it doesn't really look right for the character. Some of the V-line looks could maybe kind of work, but again, none of those headpieces really look like Saturnites. Ideally, you need some sort of helmet-looking headpiece for a Saturnite, and the closest you have is something like this, which again looks nothing like the character. So even though at some point I toyed with the idea of switching it to the Orion helmet, essentially I switched back to the Starburst helmet, which is what I've been using since I created the character. And somehow, whenever I try to change the helmet to something else, I end up coming back to this helmet for some reason. I got used to using this helmet through the years. Essentially, the character has been using this helmet for like 4.5 years, 5 years. So whenever I switch to another helmet, it kind of feels weird to me by now. One of the easier characters to recreate from the Flashback universe is probably our friend Victor from the League of Monsters. Essentially, he's the son of the Frankenstein monster, so he pretty much looks like a walking zombie. So just using the zombie skin, the flat top head, and a pair of jeans, and Shazam, we have our friend Victor from the League of Monsters. So this is probably the easiest one to recreate, in part because he's asymmetrical, but also I won't say generic looking, but there's all the elements in this universe online to recreate this character, unlike a lot of my other characters, as you'll see in a bit. This is more or less as close to the Sandwalker as I'm able to get with this universe online styles. I do have a Sandwalker character on PS4, which is a bit different than that. I guess in the long run, I'll probably try to have him look like this. But then again, I may decide to make it look a bit more different in order to get a much better looking character. Because even though I try to give it an Egyptian theme, not too crazy about this look right now. And there's our friend the Last Angel. Again, I wasn't really able to recreate the actual style, but I was able to get pieces of gear that look close enough to what the character looks like to sort of recreate something that, if you know who the Last Angel is, you can tell that this is supposed to be him. And if I gave him essentially a name like Last Angel or something like that, or Final Angel or whatever is available as a name, you would pretty much understand who this character is. Actually, come to think of it, I've been trying to come up with a fire using character, and maybe I could use this little guy. We'll see. And last but not least, here's our friend the Paladin. I was able to get fairly close to the look of the character, strangely enough. Even though the headpiece should be a helmet, it kind of reproduced the cross-like motif that the Paladin helmet has. And even with the gear, I was able to more or less reproduce the motif of the gear, even though it's not exactly it. Like the top of the chest is supposed to be like chainmail. There's no way I can reproduce that in this universe online, but this kind of is close enough to the actual character that it kind of works. And if you know the Paladin, you know that this is supposed to be him. And also, I was even able to reproduce the triangular shield, so that brings it even one step closer to the actual character. So that's pretty much it for this first video about recreating at least some of the Flashback Universe characters. There's probably a few more that I could try to recreate. I'll probably do a follow-up videos at some point. And also, there's also people who have been asking me about to talk about the design process, not just for not even for DC Universe Online, but the design process in general when I actually design characters. So I'll probably try to make some sort of video about that before long. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.